Coach Stoutland's one of the best O-line coaches in the world in the history of the NFL.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, one of my favorite coaches to play for. The intensity in meetings and what he demands of his players, not only on the practice field but in the meeting room, is very impressive. And I always got a lot out of it. Loved playing for him. Loved him as my coach throughout my career. Had him in 2013 with Chip Kelly, and then got to have him again when I came back. And I was always so grateful to have an O-line coach. You want a great O-line coach. And throughout my career, I've had some really good ones. I've also had some ones that weren't really good. And Jeff is the best. But that being said, I think the only way to fix this is this. So you know how it is. You got the run game coordinator. Jeff and his staff, or his run game, they're preparing the rush attack. They're going to, Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni dropping the paper on their desk and saying, hey, here's the run. This is what good run plays look like this week, the formations, whatever it may be. And then the passing game side is then going to Kevin, and Kevin's a part of it, and Nick Sirianni, and then dropping that down and saying, hey, here's our passing game. They might not marry each other because, that's up to Kevin to put it together. So my recommendation.
But is Jeff really going to allow that?
No,
they don't marry each other. Jeff, I can see Jeff beating down his door and being like, figure this out.
And that my point is this, and this might be what they're doing, it might not be, and it's sort of different because you don't have a lot of time. I mean, these coaches are constantly working. I have so much respect. They are there so many hours. They barely sleep. But just sitting in a room and just switching things up and just being like, listen, let's together, run game coordinating, pass game coordinating, head coach, OC, whatever there is, we're sitting in a room, let's go through this, let's build this all at once together. Not normal because there's not a lot of time, but maybe your game plan becomes more simplistic, but it's more intentional. And it marries each other and everything works together. And you're running, you're play actioning, you're bootlegging, you're doing all your stuff out of rush. Everything looks similar to keep the defense on their heels. You have planned cadence attacks. You have all these different things. You talk to the O-line. Sometimes in games, I remember in 2018 we were playing the Bears. And the Bears came out in nickel. We thought they'd be in base, and we had a run play called. And Stefan Wisniewski and Jason Kelsey in the middle of a play is like, Nick, we can't run this play. And I'm more focused on execution, running. I have my rules. I focus on what they know more about that than I do. I'm focused more on the pass game, coverage recognition, stuff like that, making my guys line. I'm like, what do you guys need? Hey, we need 95 whack right now. You got to get, I'm like, well, we're not, hey, can you build it for us? And I got 15 seconds. I'm like, hey, Zach, get over to the right. Hey, we're going whack, whack, whack. Hey, Lexus whack. Boom, gash. And I could tell on the sidelines, the coaches were rattled because the Bears defense came out in something that we did not expect. And even on the sidelines, the coach would be like, hey, if they do this and we call this play, you have to audible. I'm like, what do I audible? Just to a pass play. Well, what protection? Whatever you want. What concept? Whatever you want. I'm like, well, guys, that means that if they do this, it's all on me, and we did all this prep. But what was great about that team was we were fine. Everyone calmed down. But while on the field, I went to my guys. Hey, what do you need? Hey, we need whack. I got you.
Are they missing that leader on the offensive line to say we need whack? I know Kelsey's not there.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Are they missing that leader maybe?
I can't speak on it because I'm not in the building. But that's the thing about great teams is even like we talked about the Nelson big throw against the Houston. One of my favorite plays of my career is I think it was my longest touchdown. That was supposed to be a 5-yard completion, a first down, stay within the chains. But based on my coverage recognition and what we were planning on third down, they gave us a 4-mini coverage on first down. I'm like, I'm going to take advantage because we're in a 3-by-1 form. So I just switched 2 guys, boom, 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 real quick, got the ball off, dropped back, stepped up, took advantage. That's where I don't know if they do that. They're probably running, just calling plays, running it. You got to have a little bit of freedom. Right now, if I'm Jalen Hurts, as a quarterback, it's great to take play calls, but I'm also looking for opportune moments. And I'm telling the O-line, hey guys, I always ask the guys, what run plays does the O-line like? What do you like in this game? There was even, I'll go back, storytelling. I like storytelling. I think our listeners will like storytelling. There was even a time, LA Rams 2018, we're running wham where you're letting the defensive tackle front side go. It was Aaron Donald. We're not blocking him. The tight end's coming in, nailing him, but he's
trap a little bit.
It's a trap. But it's sort of a scary play because Aaron Donald's lined up right over me. And I told the coaches during the week, I'm like, hey, aren't we worried about Aaron Donald getting off the ball and tackling me before I take my first step? No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And I remember thinking we ran it once and I tried him and he was right. He literally grabbed my ankles as I was handing off the ball. We called the play again. And I said, heck no. I was like, I got the play. I got the headset. It was Trips Right Bunch. Hey, we're going to go 94 wham. I'm like, heck no. I get in the huddle. I go, hey, we're going trips right. We're going to go jab 92 rub. I ain't doing this wham crap anymore.
This is not normal, by the way.
No. There was times in the game I would get a play call and I'd be like, heck, and it was only a few times, and I'd just be like, heck no, I ain't running that play. And I get in the huddle and be like, y'all go with jab rub. I don't like the wham. They'd be like, we love it. Let's go. Jab rub, 20-yard gain out the back end.
What year was this?
This was 18. This was the first game back where we were 3% chance. Now, I trusted my coach, but listen, coaches are human beings. They don't always make the play. There was times where even when I ran over the Philly special, I'm like, man, we don't know. Like, this play sounds good. We were going to run speedo left. That ain't the play. Doug was trying to search for a play. He's on the headset trying to search for a play. I'm like, listen, if y'all are going to be, if we're going to be dumb right now, we're going to do a little something crazy. Let's go do the Philly special. Let's do something that no one expects. So I would like, and I don't know, once again, I am not in the building, and I do not try. There are media people out there that try to get inside sources within organization. I have been out to eat with Eagles players, and I will not ask him those questions because I do not want to go on the show
that's insider stuff.
With insider stuff. And that's where people make a living. Because I was a player, I know how that goes. I want to speak on what I see, and if I'm not within it, I can't speak on it. So like Jalen Hurts, I do not know this, but what I would recommend is, in the huddle, if there's games going on like talk to your guys. What do you like? I'm talking the receivers. Listen, receivers are always going to say a play that you have to take with a grain of salt because they want the ball. But sometimes there's going to be a gem in there like, it's actually a good play call. I mean, even Jason Peters one year, but man, what about that wide throwback? And it's JP. I'm like, coach, I went to Doug. I'm like, hey, JP wants wide throwback. You don't have to do it, but Jason wants it. Yeah. Let me know if you want it. I just want. He's watching me right now. Walk over to you to ask for wide throwback. It's up to you. There's times that players know what will work. So this is now turned into, with where their offense is right now, a figure this out by committee. Players, coaches, everyone sitting down. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Cam Jurgens, Lane Johnson, Jeff Stoutland, Kevin Patullo, Nick Sirianni, everyone get in a dang room, an offensive room, and say, who are we, what do we want to be, and figure this thing out. Because if we keep going out there day in and day out and doing what you're doing, you're going to get beat. Your defense is holding you together. Your offense is playing. It's not good, but the personnel and the players, and I know the guys in that building, I know the culture, they have it all there to do amazing things. And thank goodness Jalen Hurts is protecting the ball because they're in a good position right now. But let's all humble ourselves. Let's leave our ego at the door, and let's go do this by committee and figure. If they do that, they will literally start blowing the brakes off the points and everything. But it's going to be a by committee, a team coming together and creating a moment for them instead of like constantly like, oh, I'm upset that this, A.J. Brown talking about this, Jalen Hurts trying to deflect that, Nick Sirianni, do it together, figure it out. That's what great teams do. And then Jalen Hurts, if you don't like the play, do an audible. If it doesn't work, who cares? Show ownership that you're going to audible the play, even if you call a play and you don't think it's good on 3rd and 2, get under center, bring the formation in, run a QB sneak, run a run to Saquon, switch it up, have fun. I mean, there was times where I was like, you know what? Like, this isn't working. Let me try to give something. Let me try to give some energy. And you guys have the culture. If you're on a bad team, it's tough. You're on a good team. Guys are going to buy into it and love it. Defense is getting fired up. Offense will get fired up because now you have ownership, and it becomes something special. I see all that, and that's just – I'm specifically talking about Philadelphia, what I know in that locker room, what I know in the culture from the past, what they've shown. They're Super Bowl defending champs. They have the ability. Take a little bit of pressure off Kevin Patullo. This is his first year calling plays. Everyone is out for him. The guy is handling himself – this is his first year. It's hard to be an OC. You're defending Super Bowl champs. Let's help him out. Let's do it together.
Boy, am I glad I asked that question.
Yeah.
I think it's the best segment we've had on the season. That was fantastic.
We'll cut it up on YouTube
and
for
look,
y'all to listen to.
What you're saying, too, is like it's not insubordination. So, like, an example, in the Green Bay game, there was a report that, like, they had gone rogue and taken a shot to A.J. Brown. Now, granted, that was on 4th down and ended up giving the ball to the Packers close like to midfield. So that was a little risky. But that people made a big deal about that. What? You did something you weren't supposed to do? And, like, what you're getting at here is, like, look, Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl MVP. He's built up enough equity in the organization to say, like, hey, we trust your judgment, right? So I think that's why Nick backed him, Nick Sirianni, and said, like, no. What he did, we were comfortable with. It was built within the play, right? What you're getting at is, like, hey, when you have a team of veterans that have won championships, like, you've reached a point as a team where you need to rely on those guys' feedback. You need to rely on their instincts on what's going to work because coaches aren't on the field. And coaches also don't know what every player is comfortable with from a scheme standpoint in the moment, right? And so what you're hitting at is like, hey, those things good teams need to make those tweaks on the field, and coaches need to be okay with it. This is not high school football. This is the NFL.
Yeah.
You're dealing with professionals that are basically saying, like, Coach, I love your thought. This is what we're going to do on this play, and I guarantee it's going to get us 10 yards. Yeah. And then you run it, and the coach is like, Well, I guess we're dealing with a bunch of pros here, right?
Listen, the plays, great coaches will say this. Plays are great, but players are the ones that bring the plays to life. I mean, once again, this is going to be a storytelling segment.
I'm going
This
home,
is
dude.
insane.
No, I'm going to go to Chicago Bears, Seattle Seahawks. I get told on Friday I'm playing. We have a game-winning drive in the snow in Seattle to win the game. I had one practice with the starters the entire year. My speech in the huddle was, listen, we're going to call simple, crappy plays. That's what we're going to do. Like, this has been a rough year. We all know it. This is on the field. Listen, we all know this has been tough. Like, we know, like, plays have sucked, this and that. But we're going to call these simple plays that we've run over and over again. They haven't worked. But why don't we just bring them to life one time? Just this drive. Do something special. Make them come to life. And I'm going to throw you the ball. O-line, give me like half second longer. And I will stand in there and I will deliver the ball. Receivers, tight ends, make plays. Do something special. Bring these plays to life. Coaches are calling these plays. Let's give them life. Plays aren't what work. It's the players running the plays that bring them to life. We march right down the field, win the game. We have a big touchdown, and then we have a 2-point conversion where our receiver just does something different that I'm not expecting, but is wide open. I find him late. Everyone's like, why'd you throw it late? He was supposed to run a corner route, but he stopped and went the other way, and boom. We brought plays to life. And that's what you have to do. And that wasn't even on a great team. Whereas the Eagles, like, you got to take ownership in the plays, bring them to life. Don't just run the plays. Like, bring them to life. Do something special. Finish them. Do something more on your route. They can do it by committee. That's the key. They're a great team. This isn't the New York Jets the New York Jets should not do this. Like, you have to prove to your coaches and your players that you have this ability. I believe that the players within the locker room for the Philadelphia Eagles have earned the right to just get together. And I'm sure they're already doing this, but like, let's build this thing together.
Every struggling offense with championship pedigree especially, but also just good veteran players that you trust, every struggling offense in football should play the segment that we just had and the comments you made. When I asked about Stoutland and him affecting Patullo and basically putting his foot down, saying that I had no idea this is the direction you would go. And it is a whole new, you turned over a whole new rock for the conversation that is just like, it makes it, I never played on a team that had that kind of leeway, so to speak. And that's fascinating on so many levels, Nick. That was awesome. Really, really good. The rest of the show is going to be boring compared to that. But stick with us here.
Two simple thoughts. There's teams that finger point, and this is in life. This is like dealing with business or whatever. There's finger pointing people or organizations or teams, and there's problem solving. There's two different perspectives. Which one? I mean, every person who listens to this can say, man, do I instantly, when something bad goes happen, want to blame someone else? Or do I say, man, what can I do to fix this problem? How can I humble myself and look at myself and be like, how can I be better? And what can I bring? I love people who come to the table as opposed to like, it's easy to go, I'm not getting the ball. You're blaming someone and just finger point because you're deflecting it from you and you think you're protecting yourself, but you're taking away like onus on yourself and leadership from yourself. Or going in there and be like, I always like, hey, what's a way to solve this problem? And just throw it out there. Like, what if we met together? So two things for listeners to listen to in life and football. If you're the Eagles, if you're a team, are you a finger pointer or are you a problem solver? That's my last point. My brain.
We get this guy in the NovaCare Center and talk about this to the team.